Chair, thank you again, Mr. Ash. I'm reading from a news release by Brian Hires. Is he an employee of the Fish and Wildlife Service?
I do not know.
If he uses the email address fws.gov, is that an indicator that he might be in the agency?
It would be.
Okay. So he quotes down in that the new revisions, talking about a new proposed rule, simplify the original proposal that petitioners coordinate with states and remove the proposed requirement for petitioners to certify they provided all relevant information on species. So my question is, so you all have removed the requirement that the litigants who are trying to sue to get things settled provide all the relevant data. Why is that? Wouldn't we want all the relevant data?
The point of petitioners is that they may or may not have access to all of the relevant data, and their position is it is our responsibility to assemble all of the relevant data, and that's a fair position on their point, I would say. And a petitioner, in the case of delisting, might be a state, it might be an oil company, it might be the Safari Club, and so.
But in this case, it was the Center for Biological Diversity in Arizona petitioning for the dunes sagebrush lizard to be listed, which you and I discussed at length in my office a couple of years ago. And I would remind you, sir, that the things they presented were not all of the relevant data. In fact, it was me holding a public town hall where we got the guy who wrote the original report 30 or 40 years ago. He came in and showed the pieces of the report that were being omitted by the litigant, Center for Biological Diversity, and he showed where his report concluded exactly the opposite of the conclusion they were drawing. When I asked him, had Fish and Wildlife Service contacted him to find out the underlying report, you all were moving towards a listing of threatened or endangered in that species, and it was only after he began to talk publicly that no, he had not been contacted by Center for Biological Diversity or you all. And I draw great concern from the fact that you're reducing the requirement for litigants, people who are going to sue to get species listed. You're going to reduce that, and I would yield back again, Madam Chair.
We're not reducing requirements. We're reducing some of the requirements that we had proposed. But the net result of our rule that Ms. Lummis referred to is that the requirements on petitioners will be increased, not decreased.
It sure says here in the news release it's going to remove the proposed requirement for petitioners to certify that they provided all relevant information. All relevant information is significant. Again, I yield back.
Thank you, gentlemen.